what's up, everyone? Game Upstairs, we're back, episode 4. I have a long time buddy here. His name is Edwin. And Edwin, if you go ahead and tell us about yourself, a little bit of what you do, and just go ahead and let people know what you're all about.
For sure. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. My name is Edwin. Just grew up right here, Bloomington area. Went to Bloomington High School. Played baseball right there. Grew up racing dirt bikes. But right now, I am a teacher in San Bernardino School District. Been teaching first grade. Now I'm going to be teaching sixth grade. So, see how that goes. Little nervous about that with upper grade students now.
Yeah.
But I am also the coach for the after school sports program. So I coach the soccer. We do soccer, basketball, and softball, and we're hoping to touch into a little bit of flag football coming up this school year.
All right, that's getting popular.
Mhm.
That flag
Yeah.
football is getting popular.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned, kind of where you grew up and growing up playing baseball and, racing dirt bikes and stuff like that. Can you go ahead and just share kind of how you grew up? Was baseball something that was the first sport you played, the only sport you played? How did baseball come into it?
Baseball came in after dirt bikes. Dirt bikes was the first thing, first core memories I have was like at Angel Stadium watching dirt bike races. After that, it's just riding dirt bikes since I was 4 years old. And then dad put me in T-ball because dirt bike was from like my mom's side, my grandpa, all them, my uncles, they all rode dirt bikes. And baseball was my dad's thing.
Yeah.
So, it was baseball. But it was a good mix of both worlds, that it kept me busy, kept me out of trouble, just kept me wanting to do that. So I think my parents both had that mentality of just sports, just to keep me out of trouble, keep me involved, and it was great because, it was baseball during the week, or games on Saturdays, and we didn't have a game on Saturday. It was, I was at the track. I was at Star West, Glen Helen, Raceway, Alanto, or, change the competitive edge, tracks all over here, Riverside Empire. So that's it. I just look forward to just doing sports.
Yeah, no, I get it. You said that came from your mom's side, your uncle and stuff like that. Was she kind of the one that pushed that, or did your dad gain an interest in that, from seeing your uncle?
It was from my uncle's road. It was definitely my grandpa.
Okay.
My grandpa started off out in Mexico. He always liked having bikes, like Harleys and dirt bikes and stuff like that. So it was definitely my grandpa started that, and when I first turned 4, got my first little dirt bike. He got like a beat up one, fixed it up for me, and just going up to the Mojave Desert and just pretty much camping the whole day, being there from 6 in the morning till sunset, and that was fun, just going a bunch of trails and trying to follow them, my little dirt bike, little 50 would get stuck a lot of times. And, yeah. And after that, I say when I was about like 5-ish, Grandpa had a heart attack, so the doctor put him off of, he said, no more dirt bikes. He said, no more dirt bikes, no more bikes, got to, had to get him off of that. So at that point, it was just me and my uncle and my other brother that just kept riding. So it was more, I think Mojave was a little bit kind of a drive now to go out there.
Yeah.
And before it was kind of more fun. And then at that point, we made it a little bit more competitive. So it was more track riding.
Okay.
At that point, my grandpa became my mechanic, and that was pretty much just kept my bike running good. And, just, it was pretty much track riding all the time at that point. And
Okay.
then, my dad was a great support, obviously never complained because it's ask anybody who rides, it's an expensive sport,
Yeah.
So, just from the gear to the gas, on the dirt bike and on the truck. Now as an adult, I understand, like, hey, my parents put up front a lot, And that was just not
Yeah.
just for me, it's for my brother.
Yeah.
Paying to get inside the track, and it was a lot. So, now I totally get that. So for them to be able to, work those hours so I could be able to afford to have that luxury, you know, it was I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't realize that as kids, like how much money goes into this stuff, and then when we
Oh
become
yeah,
adults and have our own kids, we're like, oh, damn, that's a lot of money.
yeah. A baseball bat costs how much?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just
Yeah,
bought one, and I'm like, wait, $400 for a bat? Like, I don't
yeah.
remember this. But, um, you say your dad was a support. Did he end up like embodying that bike riding and stuff like that? Did he ever jump on a bike with you? I mean, you said he was
Yeah.
there and supportive, but did he, kind of indulge in it too, or he kind of stayed away from it?
No, I mean, he knows how to ride them. When we go free riding, he'll just kind of go on it. But I mean, once it was different. Like I said, when my grandpa used to go, the bikes were kind of meant for trails.
Oh, okay.
And then once we started doing track riding, and putting all aftermarket pipes on it, and exhaust, and sprockets, and this suspension, doing all that, my dad was like, I'm good with that. Yeah,
Yeah,
my dad was pretty much just out there watching me, riding, and it was more, hey, you know what? I'm coming out here. I'm supporting you. I know you love to do this. I know you want to do this, but I didn't see any improvement from last week to this week. Like your times are the same. Your times are the same. You didn't jump this jump when I came last week, and you're still having a hard time this time. If I'm going to invest my money, every time get a little bit better. Every day get a little bit better. But it was good because that kind of just got ingrained with me. So I've carried that on my whole life. Just to just do a little bit better each day. Every time, whatever you do, just do a little bit better, a little bit better. Till you get it. So that's
yeah,
as tough as he was saying, like, saying those things as a kid, you're just like, it was hard, you know.
yeah,
But I mean, now as an adult, that I felt I had success maybe in my career, where I've just started this not so long ago, and I feel, thank God, it's been planning out this whole teaching thing. I did a career change, later in life, and I just feel like doors are opening. I can't, thank God enough for that, and I just feel I have that mentality, just do a little bit better each time, do a little better, do a little bit better,
yeah,
and setting those goals to keep going forward.
yeah. No, no, I get it. Like I said, I've known you for a while, um, and we talked, and that's kind of how we came on to the subject to do this show today, where you would come on. We had similar upbringings where our parents were tough. You know,
Yeah.
while your dad was out there, was your mom out there too, or was she there at home waiting for you guys, and then your dad would kind of tell her like, "Hey, this is what's going on."
It just depends. It would just flip flop. It would flip flop to where if it was if it was my dad going, or if my dad was working overtime, then my mom would go, or if they were both working overtime, it was just my uncle would go.
Yeah,
It was just my uncle would go, and we would fit the three dirt bikes in the truck. Or and once I, had my license, I was able to drive a truck. You know,
yeah,
and my dad, and like now I know why he works so much overtime. My mom.
yeah.
So we were able to take the truck, and me and my uncle at the track. But
When did I know you say you guys would ride, out in the open, and that you guys kind of switched over to the track. When did that transition happen? Like, how old were you around that time?
when we went track riding,
Yeah,
it's probably like it was like about 5 years old, like right about five. Because I remember like just the free riding, going out to Mojave. When I first started riding, I was like about 4 years old. And Grandpa had a heart attack a little bit after. He would, you know, smoke a lot, like just like a pack a day. Ended up
yeah.
having like a heart attack, and so I mean, at that point, we just started just doing more track riding. So yeah, it's
When
about five.
wh- when did it become competitive? Like when?
At that point,
At that point, so is that
at
when it starts for
yeah,
motocross? Like,
yeah, at that point, because I think my first race I was like about 5.5, and it wasn't even like planned or anything. It wasn't planned. It was just we get to the track and to Star West, which is I don't even know if it's still open now, and it's off Ramon Expressway. Um, we get to the track, and I was like about 5.5, and it's packed. It's super packed. Like, what's going on? Flags everywhere, and they're just like, and it was races for just for for small bikes, for like my age, and like yeah, no free ride today, no practice, we're racing. And it's funny because my mom and dad weren't there. It was just my uncle and my grandpa, and they both looked at me like, "We want to ride or not?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, let's do it." Yeah, so I mean, at that point, it was just like, I'm gonna race, all right. And it was just like, all right, like I get there. I remember they're just like, yeah, there's like two other number nines. They put on like another one on my number, like number 19. And, I just see my grandpa doing this, doing that, and my uncle, like they're just on my bike, just like working on it, making sure like it's running good. And, it's funny, like I had my first experience. I was like, what is going, like we were on to it, you know?
yeah,
It was so my grandpa and my uncle were just looking around at everybody, and also being Latino,
yeah,
it's not common, it's not common. But you know what? It at the track, it feels like it didn't matter.
yeah,
Everyone was always just willing to help. It doesn't matter what where you came from, where you color your skin. And that's the part I think I really enjoyed about it.
yeah.
And
I mean, even when you mentioned it before, I'm like, wait,
yeah,
you rode bike? Like you rode bikes
yeah,
competitively when you were young?
yeah,
Like, because we
yeah,
always talked about baseball. Baseball is
yeah,
my thing, and you played in high school. You played at a rival school from
yeah.
my school, so I'm like, you said that. I'm like, whoa, okay, that's cool. Like,
Yeah, I know.
you'll never know.
Everybody like, you don't play soccer? Like, no, my dad hates soccer.
That sounds like my dad. My dad hates
Yeah,
soccer.
yeah. Like, I can't stand it. But
Yeah,
yeah, no, that day it was just like, all right. And, I had my first open practice and did pretty good. And I remember it was just like in the beginner, just, stock bike and class. And um, the second, I think the second free ride, the practice, I had a hard, hard crash. I had a hard crash. Bike flipped over, handlebars went into like my rib cage. I was on the floor, handlebars bent. I was on the floor. Paramedics came out with the stretcher, and they take a look at me. I just remember they're just like, "All right, we're gonna take him in." And my uncle's like, "You're crazy! Like, I see my son. You
yeah,
can't take him in." And I think they had thought I broke a rib because it was just scraped pretty bad. It was bad, and they're like, if he doesn't go, he has to go in. It was a hard hit, and they're like, no, he's not going. And I mean, they told me, if you don't want to go to the hospital, you have to finish it. So I had to get back up and just finish it. And after that, they're just like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I'm racing. I'm already here.
Mm,
I'm in here.
yeah,
We're racing. Yeah. So I mean, we did the practice and everything, fixed the handlebars as much as we could for that day. Ended up getting second.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it was not ideal. Definitely one first, and I felt like I could have got it. I think my own kind of little, I think I hesitated the first couple laps, in like the first lap, second lap, like, and then after I was like, okay, I was able to like push myself, like, okay, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. I think I was just a little bit scared from that crash, especially
yeah,
going over that same jump, but had two races after that, finished second, both of them. The second one I remember I was a little bit closer to first, but obviously couldn't catch him. But all in all, for my first race and mom and dad not being there and not nowhere, I took it. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. So what is you come from a world that I'm used to is baseball, and then a different world that I'm completely clueless about. What is the kind of atmosphere with parents? Motocross and baseball? Like what are the main things that you see that are similar or different?
I think the similarities is just pushing yourself, and just how are you gonna be better? Don't settle for anything less. Like I said, my dad was always just like, you did this last week. I'm not okay with you becoming every weekend and you're not getting better.
Yeah,
Why? Or especially if I tell him, Dad, I want a new set of tires, or this exhaust came out, or this airflow. I need a new intake. Well, why am I going to spend on that if you're not getting faster?
yeah,
He was like, we're going to go to a track, and if you're faster, then I'll buy it for you. It was that mentality. The same thing for baseball. Similarities where, Dad, I'm playing first. I need a first baseman's glove. No, you're fine with the same glove you're playing the outfield. Show me you can play first base,
yeah,
and then we'll talk about that. Or I'm playing third
yeah,
base, Dad. That glove is too big. I can't. The ball. Like I need a smaller glove to field. Mm. Show me what you're doing in the field first, and then we'll talk about that. You
yeah,
know, I think that's the similarities. I think they pushed me, to do better. Like I said, my dad's
yeah.
mentality is always do a little better every time. I think the differences are the
What
main. What's going?
I was gonna say, what about the other parents though? Like, what's the vibe with the other parents? Were they hard on the kids that were riding with you? Were they like I just from someone that doesn't know that world or that environment? How is it?
I think it depends. Just like in baseball, it like what they're like what they want to do with it. Like the parents were just okay. Like I some of the ones that hey, we'd have a Capri Sun after we would go riding. It's like the parents were just like yes, like you got to go faster, you got to be faster, and do this, and others that would just go out there for fun, just do what you're gonna do, have fun, and be done with it. It's just like baseball.
Yeah,
The parents are out there like being competitive. Like yes, they're playing travel ball. You're gonna make it to the next level, and others are just like, I'm just doing this so you could get some fun, some exercise in it. It's that's what it is. I think the biggest thing here is just you know, I mean, riding motocross. You're by yourself. You got no one.
yeah,
No one's your friend on the track. You go out. When I was a kid, you get done, you have some waters on the bleachers with the one you're riding with, and you have a Capri Sun, whatever. But on the track, ain't no one your friend. I'll take you out over the berm if I have to.
yeah.
And even my brother, yeah, my uncle, my brother, it doesn't matter.
And he's your younger brother, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
competitive, and with baseball, it's a team sport.
yeah,
You got to pick each other up. You have the whole field. It's not by yourself. You're becoming selfish at that point. You got to help out your team. You got someone. You got to move over. You're gonna do a sacrifice bunt. I don't really want to do that, but I need to move you over. You
yeah.
know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and transition over to baseball. Kind of, where we related the most. Um, you said you started that, kind of at a younger age. Your dad was into it. Um, did you notice a change in your dad when you went from doing the motocross and now you're doing baseball? Did you notice something where it's like, okay, this is his thing and he's a little bit tougher now?
Oh yeah, I think it's just being comfortable with the sport he knows.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I respected my dad to where he let me ride dirt bikes and enjoy that. But he kind of was like, I'm going to be there and support you and guide you as much as I can. But it was more like my grandpa, a little bit more like giving him the reins, you
Yeah.
know. And then with baseball, it's just like hands off. This is my bread and butter. Let me do my thing with him. And that's where my dad was really just like, okay, you're doing this in the batter's box. You're fielding this. You're doing this. So showing me how to attack balls, taking fielding ground balls. It was he definitely taught me, everything in baseball, just how to be strategic and just thinking about like you're always supposed to like, imagine the ball's coming to you every single time. What are you doing with it?
Yeah.
It's just, it's like we tell, even right now, tell the kids when I'm coaching in softball, it's just, hey, you know what? You should always know what to do with the ball because it's coming
Yeah.
to you every
No.
single time. You say, I
Yeah.
don't know what to do with it. What do you mean?
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
I
and
get it.
yeah, and that was my dad, So yeah, it was definitely you could see the comfort level on my dad with baseball.
Did you like it right away?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because I mean, I don't know, it's totally different from riding a dirt bike,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's completely different, right? But yeah, no, I loved it. Definitely love playing baseball. I think it was a great bonding time that I had with my dad, playing, being able to play catch with him and show me how to hit a ball and everything. But, also being able to be out there and, on the field, it's like, all
Yeah.
right, hit me a hard hit ball and it's not going to get past me,
Yeah.
it's a fun in that. There's fun in that. So,
Did he
yeah.
ever? I know he coached you like when you guys were alone, but did he ever coach any of your teams?
Yeah. Yeah. He stepped in. I think it was like minors. So it was like 8, 9, 9, 10 probably. And he never signed up to be a coach, but he was
Yeah.
just so involved. He was my dad. That's for one thing. For baseball, he was every single practice. He was there. Like he wouldn't leave, rain or shine. He wasn't there. He was there. Yeah, like if it was raining, he was inside the truck just watching me. And
Yeah.
it never changed. Even in high school, he was always there. I think I
Yeah.
said that was his comfort level. He loves the sport all right now. That's what we bond over. So. Um, Yeah, definitely. Like I said, maybe that's one thing. That's maybe why I love baseball so much, being able to have that bonding time with my dad.
Yeah.
But it's competitive. I like it.
Yeah. It's super competitive. Um, at that age where you're 8, 9, 10, and he takes over, or he's coaching your team. Um, was there high expectations for you because you're his kid?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And I felt honestly, I felt like that was probably my worst season ever.
It normally is.
Yeah, yeah. Because I remember just being out there and just like being fearful of like the ball, like I'm gonna miss it before it even gets hit to me. And because you put that stress on you, I don't want to miss a ball,
Yeah.
and it was just like I remember being in right field, and you know, pop fly gets hit to me and lost in the sun, and it lands right next to me. And I remember just coming to the dugout. I already knew my dad was saying in the dugout, just sit down. You're not going out next to me.
Well, at least he didn't
Yeah,
play into that daddy ball, right? Where it's like, oh, my son's gonna play regardless. That's how my
yeah,
dad was too, though.
yeah. No, no,
And
no.
that's
No, my dad wasn't like that. My dad was always like the best players will play, and if
yeah,
you are that, you're gonna play. If not, then not. And like I'm not playing that.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I get it. So when that happens, what's the mentality when that happens for you? Is it like, oh, I don't even want to do this anymore? Was there ever a point where you were playing baseball and your dad's your coach, and you're like, I don't want to do this?
yeah. You know what? It was the opposite. I felt like it was more like it was opposite. I remember just getting like a tennis ball and like our house was like a two-story house. And
Yeah,
I remember going in the backyard and just throwing the tennis ball on top of the roof and just waiting to see where it's going to come out and just practicing my pop flies that way, you know?
yeah,
And then when I started playing like the infield, I remember just getting like the hard ball thrown against the wall and just having it bounce back at me,
yeah,
just throwing it harder and harder and just doing that. I think the mentality, it was never, like I said, my dad said, get better every time. Every time you have to get better. If you improve on something, like something small or big, but say you improved every day you go out there. So I
yeah,
think, that mentality that was ingrained at such a young age that there was never an option to quit.
yeah. No, I mean
Mm.
that was me too growing up. We
Yeah,
signed you up for this, and you're gonna finish what you signed. If you don't want
yeah,
to play after this,
yeah,
okay, but you're gonna finish what you signed up for.
yeah,
yeah, I wasn't able to quit, and I think that's the difference between you and I. Is your dad had my dad had expectations.
Mm,
He needed me to do things. Your dad's explaining it, right? But my dad was like, "Hey, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, and you didn't do that, right?"
mm,
Um, but it wasn't like, "Hey, you didn't do this, and you need to work on this," and blah, 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 blah. No,
yeah.
it was, "What the fuck's the problem? Like,
Yeah.
I bring you out here every day. I work overtime. I work long hours, and me and my dad are cool now, just so everyone knows, and we've had discussions about this, and it's like it would get to the point where we're in the car, and my mom's telling him like, "Hey, it's enough. Like,
Mm,
leave him alone already." You know what I mean?
mm,
She's pulling him off,
yeah.
not figuratively, not literally,
Yeah. No,
pulling
of
him
course.
off of me. But there was never that mentality where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. My
Yeah.
mentality then became, because he had ingrained, like you said, ingrained in
Yeah.
me, that my mentality then became, well, I'm going to do it because I want to say fuck you. You know,
Yeah.
figuratively,
Yeah.
that's the way that I'm going to flip you off. Because I
Yeah.
can't do that. My dad would kill
Yeah.
me. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
wouldn't do that anyway.
Yeah.
But so it's cool to hear like other people, like what you're describing, where your dad's tough on you, right?
Yeah.
But your dad's tough, probably a little bit different, probably not so vulgar as mine.
Yeah.
Um, when you're getting older though, and you're playing baseball, and he's obviously probably seen you play high school ball, and he's
Mm,
probably excited. You
mm.
know, what do you notice a change in him when you get into high school? Is it more like, hey, I'm gonna let Edwin do his thing? Whatever Edwin needs, as long as I see that he's out there,
Yeah.
we'll do it. Is that kind of how it changed?
Yeah. You know what? He when I think when I got to high school, he kind of took a back seat a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think it was more like, okay, the coaches know a little bit more what they're doing. You know, they're there for a reason. You have to
Yeah.
trust them a little bit more. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna let them do their thing. You know.
Yeah.
So he he took a little bit more of a back seat on that.
Okay.
Um, it was more just I think he became that coach again during fall ball, where
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't out there coaching, but it was more we're out there and before season, practicing and you know scrimmages and you see that dad, like, he almost went, he hit the top of the fence. Is it a game? I really don't care. Don't care.
Yeah.
you know. And I went 2 for 3. You see a double, or you struck out that one time, and there was runners on first and third. That's when they needed you. It was that, and like I said, I think my dad was pretty tough, and he acknowledges it now. He says, I feel like I took away some of the fun in the game, but I tell him like, don't apologize because I got the message.
Yeah.
Like it might not have been there, but I got it now. It's like, and I'm glad you were doing that because if you were soft on me, you probably wouldn't have really cared for it.
Yeah.
It made me work that much harder, and the biggest difference I think for me was the difference it was between me and my younger brother.
Mm.
And I feel like out of my the three of us, like I was definitely less skilled in baseball. I
Yeah.
think they were both naturally better than me, but he was not nearly as hard on them as he was on me. And I
Yeah.
think he just says because he's like, yeah, they were probably naturally better, but you weren't gonna give up on it. You love the sport,
Yeah.
So I felt like I could make you better. I could coach you. It wasn't like you had reached like your limit. And with them, it was pretty much like, he said they weren't really like that coachable, I guess, or like that love. He's like, I didn't feel like they were gonna do it long term,
Yeah.
and that's the way he explained to me now as adults,
Yeah.
and why he was more hard on me, more strict on me, to where, yeah, he would give it to me and after the game, and then like you said, same thing, just like voice it to me. Then after it was more just like, you see that we're playing catch, you can't even hit me in the chest. That's what happened. That's what happened in the game.
Yeah.
That's what happened. You should be able
Yeah.
to make that throw from third to first without a problem, and just hitting me in the chest every single time. and this is how we're gonna work on it. You're gonna throw 10 balls and go directly straight at my chest, and it's not gonna go anywhere else. And I think that's where the coaching aspect came in after.
Yeah. But I feel like something like that, it teaches. I mean, at least with me, it taught me a lot. It taught me resilience. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I can't just stop because it's not going my way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you said, you have conversations with your dad, as you got older, and so did I. I just had a conversation with my dad before I started this, podcast, because I told him, I said, "Hey, listen, I'm going to talk about things that I remember because they're engraved in my mind and in my head, like." And there was a time where, and I told him this, and he knows that I don't believe it anymore. But there was a time where I hated my dad, legitimately. Like, damn, I do not like this guy. I don't like him. I don't like because of the way he would coach me, And when we get older and we have our kids, the hope is that we just change it, right? We change kind of how we do things, and this is where all this started, because with my son, I didn't change anything, and I was exactly like him. Exactly. To the T.
Yeah.
To where it took my son, where I would see my son not having fun, and I'm like, oh, why is he not having fun anymore?
Yeah.
And of course, it can never be you, right? It can never be you that's causing him to not have fun no more. But, you have a child now, right? I don't know if your child is into sports or anything like that. What is it that you want to instill kind of in your kid? Maybe something that you got from your dad that you want to instill in your kid too.
Yeah, no, of course. Because I could say, and I tell my dad, like, hey, just like I said, I know it was hard on you, but I love you. I know you did it for a reason, and that's where I tell my wife, I'm like, I'm scared because I don't want to do that, and I need you to. I tell my wife, I need you to help me because I know I'm going to do it. I know I'm going to just be a little bit too much, but I want her to. I want to instill that same lesson that my dad did to me. Just do a little better every time. Every time, you can't settle for the same thing. Don't settle. Keep going. Push yourself every time. Do a little better. But I told her, you need to check me when I'm going a little bit too much. And she's 4 right now, so T-ball's coming up, and I'm already like, okay.
Like
I'm ready. I'm gonna coach her, and I'm already like, okay, I'm already talking to some of my buddies, and hey, what are we gonna do? But right now she's doing dance, so she does like ballet and like hip hop, and my wife had like a meeting, and she couldn't get to two of the last practices, so I took her. And I try to go every time, when I'm not coaching the sports program. But when I'm there, I'm always just like, Emma, hold it a little bit more. Hold,
Yeah.
Hold the air vest a little bit more. Stretch out that leg. That high kick a little bit more. And she looks at me, and when you're touching your toes a little bit more. And my wife got like, you're a little bit too much. All right. Do
you ever laugh at yourself? Like, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Like, I don't really know what an Arabic is or how high I'm supposed to kick, but kick higher. Go.
Yeah, of course.
And I tell, like, look at me, go, let's go. I help her hold out her arms, like those high kicks, let's go. But yeah, like stretch, hold that leg. I got a teacher over here. I'm like, come here. Are we doing this right? What are we doing?
That's funny.
But,
that's how I was too with my daughter. Because like you said, your dad didn't like soccer. My dad didn't like soccer. Hated it. Probably still hates it. I don't know. I haven't asked him about it but I didn't know anything about it either. And my son started playing, and I'm like, oh, I got to learn this. And then my daughter started playing, and then she started playing real competitively, and I'm like, okay, I kind of know now. And then now my youngest, he plays ice hockey. Like
Oh,
that's his
that.
thing. And I'm like, I watch it. I've seen the Stanley Cup, but I don't know anything about it. I'm like, hey, you need to do this, and you need to go out there. You need to do this. And I'm like, wait. And I sit there and I laugh at myself because I'm like, I guess our main goal as
Yeah.
parents and maybe your dad is just to make sure that we do the best, that we unlock our best potential when we're doing
Yeah. Of course.
So with your daughter and dance and stuff like that, has she shown an interest in baseball or any other sport other than that?
Um, you know what? It's funny because I started recently, like started, she's hitting off the tee,
Okay.
she's going lefty, naturally just going
Oh,
lefty, and she throws with the right, so I'm like, oh, okay, okay. My youngest brother's the same way, so okay, we got that, but she'll drop it like after a few swings or whatever, she'll drop it, and then she's like, let's go play basketball, and every time it's the same thing, let's go play basketball.
and your
So I'm like,
heart breaks a little bit more that day, huh?
it breaks and I cry on the inside, but she's tall. She's pretty tall for her age. She's taller. She's a 4. Everybody thinks she's like 5 or 6 because she's so tall. But I'm just like, I guess basketball wouldn't be so bad, but I make a great first baseman.
I
You
heard you
really
putting her
stretch.
out there, huh?
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah, that's
you can
funny.
really stretch out right there. You make a great first baseman.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, that's the one thing I'm kind of just like, all right, but I told her, I'm play baseball, we can try it out, and she kind of looked at me. I told her I'll coach. She said, if you coach, I'll do it. All right.
All right.
So we'll
You
see
should
how
give me
that goes.
that.
Yeah, I'll take it.
um, that's cool. That's cool. Let's go back a little bit. You have your brother. How much younger is your brother than you? You're the one in the middle.
He's 2 years younger.
2 years younger than you. So
Yeah,
I'm sure you guys have probably been competing your whole lives, or pretty much probably done the same things.
yeah.
Um, you said your dad wasn't as hard on him. Did
No,
that make you kind of feel a certain way? I mean, he explained it now as you got older, but back then when
yeah,
you're that age, are you like, what the hell?
yeah. It's just like you got it easy. Yeah, like you got it easy. You got it
Yeah,
easy. Like what's going on? But. I mean, no, I never took it that way. I think for me, it was just, I don't know. I think for me, it was just like, well, that's just him. It's his personality. It is what
yeah,
it is. For me, I think I just, maybe a little bit selfish, but I just focusing on my thing, on what I think I was just too focused on getting good grades so I could keep playing.
yeah,
Because for me, it was like, okay, well, if I keep getting good grades, like, they keep telling me, as long as you're doing good at school, we'll keep letting you play baseball, we'll keep letting you go dirt bike riding, and if you're not getting good grades, you're not going to go this weekend. So for me, it's like, oh man, I got to do my homework, I got to do my work, because if not, I'm not going to be able to go riding.
yeah,
So I think that was always just my mentality, just being able to do what I was supposed to. And yes, they were a little bit softer on them, and but I think as I don't know, I only have one. Maybe you could speak to that, but I think as parents, and I think they recognize each one's strengths. I'm not saying their strengths weren't that, but I think maybe they knew like, oh, they like this, but that's not what they really. They like it, they don't love it, you know.
yeah,
Like my brother's 3 years younger than me. He really enjoys working with hands. Like he does HVAC. He's outside. He's like, I don't like school. That's not for me. And he's very handy. My dad always had him with him. I think that's where whatever, like a little handyman. And for me, I was like,
yeah,
I'm gonna go inside.
yeah,
I'm gonna go play on PlayStation. And my dad knows that, and he never pushed me on that, but he pushed my brother a lot more on
yeah.
that end.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I know your brother, and we
Yeah,
all three of us work together.
yeah,
So for you to say that you're not handy with the work that we're doing, I'm like, I don't know.
yeah. No, honestly, for me, like growing up, like My dad was just like, "Hey, you gonna come watch me, switch out these sprinklers or doing this and the screens or screen doors?" And I was just like pulling teeth. I was like, "Do I have to? Can I go inside now?" And it was just like, "You got to mow the lawn. You got to keep this." And my brother loved it, and
Yeah.
for me, it's like, all right, I guess I have to do it. Yeah, and I'm thankful for the jobs I had, but like I said, I haven't been teaching for too long, but I love this. I generally I love teaching, and
Yeah.
it's a big difference from what we did before when we were working together, like waking up and just I don't want to go to work, and I wake up, it's
No.
like, oh, cool, I gotta go to work. Like, all right, cool, like let
I,
me go do this and do my thing, and I can't wait for coaching, and let me do my lesson plans, and let me do this, and I look forward to it.
yeah.
Now I'm just like, okay, I had a good break. I'm ready to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's funny, but I don't know if that comes with age though. Also, because
yeah.
I mean, when I started where we were at, I was 18. You must not have been that much. I mean, you're a year older than me, but I mean, how old were you? 19, 20, maybe
Yeah, when I
something like
started
that.
there, yeah, it's probably like 1920.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
maybe it's the age too, but because I hated that job, but that I ended up getting into HVAC like your brother. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And now I have that same mentality that you have, where I'm like, oh,
yeah,
I get to go to work today.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
yeah. Even if they put me back in that job, I still wouldn't like it.
yeah,
You know?
no, I get it. But
Yeah,
doing jobs like that, doing jobs that we don't like, us being that age, yeah, we didn't like it. We hated going there. We hated dealing with what we had to deal with. Um, for those of you that don't know us, we were installing satellite TV.
mm,
Um, we hated going into people's houses. We hated dealing with people and going into attics and crawling under houses. But for me, my mentality was always to be, to be resilient and to go do it.
yeah,
That was what we
mm,
needed to do, and I had to do it, and I had to
yeah.
go, and that was engraved in me because of the sports and
Oh
because of
yeah.
my dad and stuff like that. Can
Hmm.
you relate to that? Is it similar for you?
Oh yeah, of course. Even though like I didn't like the job, it was more like I'm not gonna give up.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna give up. I'm just gonna get better at this, get better at this, and I learned a new trade, which is great. I mean, not just installing like satellite, but just everything with like low voltage, wall mounted TVs, cameras, doing all that. It's like, oh, you at the end of the day, you're thankful for what they have that job, you know,
yeah,
and I think it's just I think I'm able. I say when I interview, I say one of the best qualities like I'm able to take criticism pretty well.
yeah,
I'll tell them like don't be scared to come down on me.
yeah,
I'm not gonna back away. I'm not gonna shy away from it. I'm not gonna feel down on myself. And I think that's just from everything from my upbringing, from my
yeah,
dad. Just being like, hey, you know what? Like I'm gonna talk to you, and this is what you're doing. And
yeah,
being sports or being just like in life in general, you're messing up or you're doing good or whatever it is.
yeah,
And it was more like, okay, I'm gonna take that information. I'm just gonna get better.
yeah,
And I think that's helped me a lot in all jobs I've done career wise because I feel like thank God wherever I've worked, I've been able to be successful, and
yeah,
I think from that mentality, you know.
yeah. Would you say, that was coming from your dad? I'm sure you've had other coaches too that probably left an imprint on your life.
Oh yeah,
Um, they've taught you something, that as a coach, when I was coaching, that was my biggest thing. Like, yeah, of course I want to win baseball games, of course. But, these kids teach us as coaches more than we teach them, like more
hmm
about ourselves and stuff like that. But our goal is to always teach them something,
hmm
one thing, anything, how to work or whatever, be a team player, stuff like that. Um, you transitioning into being a teacher and then going into after school sports program, being a coach for that. How important would you say youth sports are, or anything, dance like your daughter does, just anything like that? How important would you say it is um, for the youth to be involved in stuff like that?
From the feedback that I'm getting from teaching, like coaching from after school sports programs, I, it's good. I think, the first time at the old site I was at, for example, they were playing soccer and they were just kicking each other, pushing each other. There was fights going on during lunch recess, and the principal was like, "Well, what's going on? Can we take away a soccer ball and tell them no soccer, or what's going on?"
Yeah.
Like, I told her, you know what? What if, what if we do like a little thing during lunch recess? What if we do like a little? We coach. We ask the ones who want to play. We we divide up the teams. And one of the PE teachers, he played like sport, like professional soccer, so it's great. And I played like 2 years of soccer in high school. I don't know much, but I'm there. I know the
Yeah,
basics
yeah.
of it. And then had other ones that play. My friend also, he loves playing soccer, and I play soccer, and then someone else stepped in to coach, and we started coaching them, and it was more like, okay, we're gonna coach. We had some practices. We made teams, and then we had games, and after that finished, there was no more fighting. There was no more fighting because they knew the basics of the rules now. Basics of the games, like following it, being competitive, but also like the sportsmanship, and then also when you do like the after school sports program, which is like the legitimate program, where we play against different schools, like all the elementary schools have it now, which is great because we didn't have that elementary. I don't think you did.
No.
Where you, yeah, right. And now it's like awesome. It's like, oh wow, and you get the feedback. It's like I'm checking in with teachers. Like, we have a games next week. We have 2 games. How is so and so doing? He had a rough week. Didn't turn in homework, and he was kind of talking back to me in class. All right, what's going on in class? You know,
Yeah.
uh, well, you come to my class if you need help with your homework in the morning, or bring it to practice. But also carry yourself. You're part of the team. Be a role model for the rest, for your peers. You gotta show them respect,
Yeah.
and building that sportsmanship, and that conduct, at school and out of school. You could have told me, I can't take you to play a sport at another school if you're gonna get in a fight.
Yeah.
You need to show me that you could know like how to behave yourself and show that good conduct at school, or else I can't take you to another school. And that really stays with them. It's like, you won't take me, I won't take you. And I had to respond to, the parents come up to me and tell me, you know what? I appreciate you doing this. I'm telling you, I don't know anything about basketball. I watch the Lakers, that's about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, the fact that you're here, and he's learning this, and he's paying attention. He tells me, I I gotta do my homework. We could the coach again check up, and I won't have my playing time. And I got great feedback from the teachers as well. Like, and they know, hey, you know what, you're having a rough day. I'll call Mr. N, call Mr. Monares. Maybe we can have a chat with you. We do check in, check out in before in the day, and you know, talk to them during the school day, what's going on, and it helps. And so the response I had is pretty positive,
Yeah.
you know, and the student has something to work for, something to work
Yeah.
towards, keeps them, accountable to themsels and to their teams. Can I tell them at the end of the day? I mean, I know we're just trying to teach you sportsmanship, but I know we all want to win, right? And if you're not there, you're not helping your team,
Yeah.
So it keeps them accountable.
And that's cool. That's like you said. We want to teach them for the future. And it seems like that program is what it's doing what it's intended to do.
Yeah.
Um, we touched on it and you described it a little bit right now, but can you? We talked about it before, but can you kind of break down what exactly it is, like you did earlier, and and what your guys' goals are?
Yeah, so we have three sports. We'll have soccer, then we'll have basketball, and we have softball. And the rules are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like well, instead of having like the first half and second half, you'll have four quarters. And it's divided. For 10 minutes each quarter. Everyone will play, and you divide that. You can't have like your best player play the whole game. You got to show them how to sportsmanship. Cheer on your teammate. What we don't want is say somebody commit like a hard foul and we don't catch it or we didn't see it, and then going and scoring the goal. We'd rather them stop. Just pick up the person that fell. We have some, and there's some feedback we're getting from like the high schools. The students are getting kicked off the team. Grades. Biggest one is behavior, where they're getting in fights at school or against other schools for their games, and like the whole sportsmanship isn't there. So
Yeah.
that's what we build upon. They even suggest don't even keep score. Of course, everybody wants to keep score.
Keep scoring your head.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, that was tough on me because I'm like, well, I'm not keeping score and I'm trying to win. I want to win because that's the
Yeah. Yeah.
mentality I think we both have. And
Yeah.
and we some more for the most part we all keep score. And they want to win, and they we teach them fundamentals to be successful in the sport. But the main thing is like after the game, shake their hand, say good game,
Yeah.
and help them out. If somebody on your team misses a ball, we have a softball game and they miss a ball, I don't want you getting mad at them. I want you to teach them. How could they have done it better? You're frustrated with them. Why? Because you play travel ball and they never played before.
Yeah.
I like to give everybody an equal opportunity where I'm not going to just take everybody who plays travel ball, which I could beat every team like that. But I also want to give the opportunity for those who don't have the the monetary to be able to go out there and play those games. Who parents don't have time to really do that, or don't have
Yeah.
they can't afford it. So I will take if as long as I see them committed that they want to play, I'll take them on the team and I'll teach them, and also have like what, you play basketball for a travel ball team or softball or soccer, whatever it is. Don't get mad at this person because they don't know, but
Yeah.
teach them, because that's what they're going to encounter in high school, right? They're all different skill levels.
Yeah.
So what can you do? Build them up, because if you build them up, make them better, your team only gets better.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to incorporate in my teams, and I know that's kind of like the baseline of the sports program that we're doing. It's a sportsmanship.
Yeah.
Just trying to do that, trying to build a
I mean,
sportsmanship around the league, around the
yeah,
school.
and it sounds like you guys are also exposing them to something different. Maybe they fall in
Oh
love
yeah,
with it. Maybe they're the next whoever, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Next great player for whatever sport it is.
yeah.
Um, is it all grade levels or just specific ones for that
It's only
program?
fifth and sixth. It's
Okay.
only fifth and sixth. Priority we give it to sixth graders because they're going to be moving on to middle school, so we want to expose them to what, because in middle school they do have more sports.
Yeah.
We want to expose them what's going to come, what their expectations are going to be. If we don't have enough, then we could get fourth graders. Typically, don't really want to do that because it's a big jump with just like height and just weight from fifth and sixth, and fourth
Yeah.
graders do get a little bit smaller. I did carry a fourth grader for me last year for basketball and softball, and it worked out. He was a very scrappy player, very good. But I mean, just like you said, like about like players I had when he played basketball and softball for me, and his dad said, you know what, he's he plays soccer. We play like travel ball. He's just this guy don't play soccer, but he wants to do this because his friends are doing it. He did basketball. He did okay.
Yeah.
Softball though, I was surprised he went to tryouts. Oh, what are you doing? He's like, I want to play, coach. This is your coaching. I want to play. All right. And they didn't even know what like the glove or what to do. And honestly, he was probably like one of my best players. He was hitting the ball harder than the ones on travel ball teams.
Yeah.
And when other coaches would go watch him, when we play against different teams, they were
Yeah.
just saying, "Man, yeah, you're third baseman. He's the best player on the team, huh? He's never played baseball." They were asking about him. What team do he play for? And I'm like, he plays soccer. They're talking to his dad about putting him on a travel ball team, and he's like, "No, he only plays soccer. I'm not letting him play baseball."
Oh, dang.
Yeah,
Well, that's cool.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they give them an opportunity, like I said, an opportunity to do something. What are the requirements for the kids? Is it just, you check in, or is there any repercussions for bad behavior or anything like that?
Yeah. So requirements that they can't have a high level referral, which means pretty much like they can't be in a fight.
Hmm.
So you get a high level referral, um, pretty much kicked off the team.
Hmm.
Referral gets suspended for a game. Any type of other disciplinary behaviors, loss of time, and during the game. So instead of playing like maybe they're 10 minutes, they'll play maybe five.
Hmm.
So it's that for behavior. It's for travel. We have home and away games. We don't provide transportation for them. That's the only part that gets a little difficult sometimes. We don't provide transportation. I can't take
Yeah.
any students with me in my car, anything like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So parents have to take them. So away games are usually a little bit more difficult because you're kind of hoping you have enough to play,
Yeah.
because it's hard getting, school's out and you have to be across town in 15 minutes for the game, you know. So that's the part is kind of difficult. But other than that, that's pretty much all the requirements. They know about the transportation, but the biggest one is behavior. These little referrals, any suspensions, detentions. It's just like in high school, just like what we went through.
Yeah. So, but like you said, it all started because of that. You noticed a lot
Exactly.
of kids getting kicked off. So it just trickled down, and they want to get it early. They
Yeah.
want to teach these
Exactly.
things early.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, because you know, he, they have tempers, especially sixth graders. They have tempers already.
Yeah.
Fifth, sixth graders, they have tempers, and I had some that were about to get in a fight. Got thrown. They got thrown in the basketball game, or and fell down. They clenched their fists, got in the other person's face. Now think about what you're gonna do. Take a deep breath. Who needs you more? And everybody was just like, "Oh my gosh, they're going to fight," and he just said like, "My team needs me more," and just walked away. And I was like, "That's a good decision. Take your deep breaths. You're
Yeah.
okay." And it was more like, "Hey, coach, this team like this team is cheating. They're being really rough. Or I saw them team to score. All right, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Are you gonna give up just because their team didn't score? No, you keep going. You don't give up.
Yeah.
They're bigger than us. All right, well that means you're faster.
Yeah.
That just means you're faster. Tire them out. So you try to build them to where they have that positive mindset. Where they're not doubting themselves.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's a good thing to kind of teach them how to navigate through obstacles and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because I kind of wish we had something like that in elementary. Because I don't know about you, but I remember, I mean, in high school, I played soccer for a little bit just because my friends did it, for like 2 years. But and I remember just getting like pissed, like or like baseball, like somebody cleated me, like when we were playing a game, and those metal spikes went straight into my shin, and I remember just being upset, just being like
Yeah.
so mad, like you did want to like fight somebody.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish you had like those, all right, like, so, walk away, take a couple deep breaths, and just,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to do
No,
something
definitely.
where I'm gonna get kicked off the team.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, I get it. Getting cleated, stuff like that. For our first natural reaction is to pop
Yeah,
up
yeah,
and like, dude, I'm gonna rip your head off. Like, what are you
yeah,
thinking? Or diving back to first, and the first baseman slaps you across the head. You're like,
yeah,
the mentality is like you
yeah, yeah. I
and
mean,
you
or
NF.
yeah, and that fastball going straight at your back. It's like that was intentional,
Yeah,
and you just like staring at the pitcher like you threw it on purpose. It
yeah.
didn't get away.
No,
you
yeah,
know?
I get it. Um, so in the beginning, like when you first take these kids on, and their natural reaction is to fight. Um, has there ever been a situation where that happened, and you use it as like a teaching, or do you kind of calm it down before that, or have you been able to?
Um, you know what? There was a game there was a game we played at a different school. We were away. Rough school. That was a rough school, and yeah, they're so usually what we do like for basketball, all right. You coach one half and I'll do the other half. You coach your part and I'll coach my part. I'll call the fouls on my side. You call the fouls on your side. He wasn't calling anything, like zero fouls, and the parents were so aggressive. And you know what's funny? Because I had been warned about that school.
Mm.
You know what? And other coaches had already told me. We played against them and rough, and it was, it's like, hey, and I didn't want to give my players that mentality already, like coming in, like, hey, you know what? It was more like, hey, you know what? Gonna go come in here, we're gonna do what we always do, keep that positive attitude, you know, show that sportsmanship. Yes, we're gonna try to win, but remember, show it all sportsmanship right here. Right away, they're just like, Coach, he slapped me a couple times going up for a layup. They didn't call nothing. And and like I said, they say, keeping scores is a big thing, but usually we have a scoreboard, and they were keeping track of the score on the whiteboard.
Mm.
And one of the parents came up to me and showed me pictures how we went. Actually, we're going down in points instead of going up. And as to a certain extent, you had to show these players that you got their back.
Yeah,
I can't just let everything go because safety of my students too.
yeah,
Talk to the coach. I'm like, you know what? It can't go on like this, dude. It can't. We're just gonna walk off the field, or we're gonna go home. We can't, and um, their best player, this is pretty tall. I mean, I don't know if he was a fifth or sixth grader, but he was almost my height. And
yeah.
I'm 6 foot. And my best player, is a fifth grader. Played travel ball basketball. But he wasn't the tallest one, but he was a really good player, and he went up for a layup and he took him down hard, landed on top of him, you know, banged up his knee pretty bad, like he was bleeding,
Yeah.
and I was like, parents came out and like, all right, dude, like this is not cool anymore. It's not okay. It's not okay. You know what? Like it's not okay. And it was probably about like 3 minutes before the game ended. I'm like, this is not okay, dude. Like we're not gonna do this. I'm like we're done. And it's funny because my players and the parents, like, the players were just like we're not, we're gonna finish this, coach.
Yeah.
We're gonna finish this. No, and I looked down. They're like we're not. They're like we're not gonna fight them. We're not gonna push, but we're gonna finish this. We're gonna finish this game. And I went to sub them in, and the parents were just like, "Let them play, coach. Like they look fine. Let them finish." I'm like, "All right." And I went to sub him in. And he said, "No, coach, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna have you fight." He's like, "I'm not gonna fight him, coach, but I'm gonna do what I came here to do." And I'm like the way you showed me, I'm not gonna fight him, but you know, I'm play with my team. And he was banged up. and
Yeah.
he got the ball. He went over there and he called him. He went you know he called him over. He took a 3-pointer right over him, and he did a layup right over him next time too. And and my students turned around and had a good game. They could have easily all just I honestly thought they were all going this is going to turn into everyone's going to fight each other, even the parents. You
Yeah.
know, parents are the worst ones here. Where parents are they're so into it, and and they just want to win. But you understand, this is elementary sports. This is just to build them up and show them sportsmanship. And I was so proud of my team right there. I was proud of them. Like, oh, this is working. To
Yeah.
where they're resilient. Went through it through a little adversity where they saw all this going around, and they just said, we're not going to do that, coach. We're going to finish this game strong. We're gonna play it right, and we're gonna win, but we're gonna
Yeah.
finish it strong, like the way it's supposed to be done. And it just showed me, like, you know what, this is good. Like it's getting through them.
Yeah. And like you said, parents are usually the ones that are the
Oh
worst
yeah,
ones. And I've said it multiple times that parents ruin youth sports. They ruin it.
yeah, oh yeah, 100%,
Um,
100%.
do you notice that though with like the kind of after school work program thing too, where
Yeah,
the parents are too much sometimes?
yeah. You know what? The parents even have to sign a consent form.
Oh, okay.
That if they're too loud or anything like that, we're gonna have to dismiss them. So we have that for them, and we have a parent meeting too before the game start. We have like our first like a scrimmage with it's always like a scrimmage within, and then we invite the parents to come out.
Yeah.
And I always I tell them this is like a glorified softball, glorified basketball, soccer. You're This one plays travel ball, this one doesn't.
Yeah.
This one plays all stars, this one does. This one never played before. If you don't want them to play, it's a waste of time. That's your decision, your choice.
Yeah.
But what we're gonna teach them, like you said, sportsmanship, good conduct in school, behavior, their expectations when they do get to that high school level. That's what we're gonna teach them.
Yeah.
That's what we're here to do. And tell them, but if you're gonna be doing that, I do tell them I'm gonna ask you to leave.
Yeah.
Now we have a school police number and what we'll call it. Luckily it's never gotten to that point, but you do get some parents that it's just too much.
Yeah.
Where they're yelling and do this, do that, and you even hear like take him out, and I was like, what is your problem? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But you say it's just some parents just take it to a whole nother extreme where these kids don't really, they're competitive, but now you turn into like more of a kind of a hate towards the other team, and they're teaching them that instead of just there's a fine line between being competitive and being way too aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing with youth sports, that you want to teach them to be competitive, and you want to teach them, other things. Like when you and I were growing up, our thing was like, okay, you got to win, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Pretty much, you're gonna learn things, along the way, but you got to win, because
yeah,
if you don't win first, you're not getting a trophy.
yeah,
Right? You're not getting anything. You're just,
yeah,
oh, thanks, guys. You had, you played this season.
yeah,
You know what I mean? The first place guys got that big old trophy over there. You guys played.
yeah,
Whereas now it's everyone gets a trophy.
yeah,
And I'm paying registration fees, and I was part of a board for little league, and we would get parents all the time like, okay, well, what do I get? Well, you get the season, and then your kid gets a shirt and a hat, and I mean, not all the time, but
yeah,
you would hear, well, does my kid get a trophy? And we're at that point in time now where participation trophies are something that I feel like it's kind of mandatory now, and if you don't, the league gets a bunch of hate on it. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts? What are your thoughts on kind of that kind of participation trophy era that we're in?
Um, I know everybody has their own opinions, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Personally, I don't agree with it. I just I'm not a fan of it because then what are you working towards?
Yeah,
I mean, what's the end goal here? What's the end goal? Like, what are you working towards? I got a trophy, so I don't need to do any better next season because I did fine this season. I still got a trophy,
yeah,
right? Like, what's the purpose of you working hard? Like, I'm not saying a trophy is that what you're that's what you strive to do, but I for me it's kind of like a motivation, I guess. You
yeah,
know, because I remember like when I didn't get, when I got second place for that race I did. I didn't get a trophy. I got a bunch of like little stuff that I got on the side, like to clean my dirt bike, little prizes, but it wasn't a trophy,
yeah,
and and I think I know for elementary sports they don't give out trophies to anybody,
yeah,
it's like no one gets a trophy right now. This is just it is what it is. But as far as for me, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. I'd rather do, just like individual recognition. Maybe
yeah,
do that to work, but not to everyone. Maybe more just this person was MVP because of so and so reason, you
yeah,
know? But I personally am not a fan of it. I know even for my daughter, like for her dance, for her recitals, they have like a rising star, or they have this, and she had her first recital in April. She had one in December, but she had just started so I don't really count that one, but her actual first one that she really did practice for was in April.
yeah,
And like they got there was they gave out Rising Star awards, and like a little certificates. And my daughter, I think now she's starting to understand like, I didn't get one, and it's like okay, well, you know what are they doing that you're not doing? So that's when like, okay, you want that? I want to get one next time. All right, well, there's one in August, So and
yeah.
so she, I'm told like, all right, well, hold that leg straight, do
Jump
this,
higher.
yeah, do those
Yeah,
leg kicks, and that's all. And when she's doing her stretches, it's not the one who finishes first, it's the one who does the best, you
yeah,
know. So I'm not a fan of it, honestly. I'm not. I just like I see at yeah, at 4 years old, I see that in my daughter already. I see her motivated like I want to get one of those, and I'm going to get
yeah,
one. And
yeah,
at 4 years old, and I'm like, oh, that's great. I love that she has already that mentality where I'm going to go out there and get it.
yeah,
So where I'm not saying that should be your only motivation just to get the trophy, but I think student athletes, should have something to work towards. Like they should have a set goal for themselves, and what are you going to do to achieve this goal? And so you're saying, so if I didn't achieve this goal, I'm still going to get a trophy? That's where I don't agree on, but I know everybody has their own opinions. That
yeah. I mean, I kind of agree. I agree with what you're saying. Um, but just to add on to it, I personally feel like it just adds a level of complacency too. Like
yeah,
you learn that, you know what I mean, and
yeah,
kind of entitlement too. And well, I was there. Why don't I get anything? Well, you didn't do anything. You
hmm
know, and it's not like oh you did, like some of these kids like you're not even there at practice or trying or anything, but
hmm
we're holding on. Like I said, I'm part of the board, so we're holding on to this trophy for this kid so they can come pick it up. They didn't even come to celebrate with their team, but they still get a trophy. Like I just think it's ridiculous.
hmm
Um, you said that at the elementary level they don't hand out trophies. Do they do it at the middle school level? Do they give
I
anything
don't
at that
know.
level?
I
Okay.
don't know. I definitely I don't know if they do it at that level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they do it at middle school level or not. Like I said, this was my first year coaching,
Yeah,
actually, like like doing it like throughout the school sports program. So I mean, sure I'll learn a little bit more and maybe this upcoming year, you know,
yeah,
especially now I'm doing teaching sixth grade. Um, but yeah, I really don't know, but yeah, I personally I think I wasn't brought up like that where everyone gets a trophy.
yeah,
So, you know, first you last.
yeah. Like I said
Uh,
earlier when we were talking, second
yeah,
place is first loser.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, that's just the way we think, and maybe just the time that we're from. But
yeah.
I
Maybe
mean,
just parents were a little bit stricter on us, a little bit harder on us. So I think it's a little combination of everything now. But I know times have changed, but uh,
yeah, I
it
know.
is what it is.
Even my kids, like, they'll get like a trophy, like, uh, what was the one? Semifinalist,
Mm,
like, okay, a medal that has like
mm,
semifinalist printed on the lanyard part.
mm,
And I
mm.
noticed, like, when they get those, they're like, oh, whatever. But
Yeah,
the one that says champion on it, they're like, that's the one that gets hung up. You know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah,
okay, cool. You guys get
yeah,
it too.
yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly.
um, you know, these things that you're teaching and instilling, not only in the classroom, that's why I wanted to have you on. We had messaged back and forth, and we again related on how our parents were. Um, but you get both sides now, right? You get to see inside the classroom and try to mold kids inside the classroom, and then you have the opportunity to do it outside the classroom in a sports setting too, which is, I mean, you you basically dedicated your whole life right now to trying to mold kids for the future. Um, do you notice though, like, people that are in your position also, the ones that are taking on these teams and stuff like that? Do you guys all like have a meeting beforehand and kind of have the same goals, or is it's all separate? Each school is separate.
No, we have a coaches meeting. We have a coaches meeting um, before the season, before season starts, and trying to figure out which schools are participating, which ones aren't. Who has coaches, who doesn't, and we have the two organizers, and we have the coaches meeting, and they tell us, these are the coaches, this is who you're playing, the times well, it's always the same time, but who the coach is, so you have to reach out to the coach if you're home or away. We're gonna go. So it's all the same layout to everyone, the
Mm.
same rules, same expectations. And you have the two organizers that will pop up to a random game or practice to see how everything's flowing. And I had them go to one of my practices, and I didn't even know they were there for another event at the school. They ended up going to my practice, and I didn't even know. I came out of my softball practice with my little wagon, going back, dismissing my students, and then I was going to go drop off all my stuff to my classroom. After students were dismissed, and then like, hey, coach, saw you out there. Oh, you did. And they're just like, hey, great job. That's exactly what we wanted you to do. And and then they showed up to one of my games too, and they were they were pretty excited, and it's good. They're just that team that we're playing against, that school, he didn't have much recognition of the sport for just softball, baseball. So it's good that I was able to help him out, and
Yeah.
pretty much guide him. And but for basketball, I had other coaches that were able to guide me on certain rules and aspects of the game. So I was like, I don't really know. You double dribble, you travel, you
Yeah.
traveled a little bit, but yeah, our expectations. bottom line, our expectations are all the same. We had coaches meetings. This is what it's at. Some follow it a little bit more than others. But at the end of the day, we're all there for the students. I mean,
Yeah.
we're there to keep them out of trouble, keep them focused, having something they could work towards, and show them sportsmanship. Because at the end of the day, some have these great talent, and you don't want them to get kicked off the team when they make it to high school.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. The ones that you see where you could see that it could possibly go down that road in the future where they, could make the wrong decision. Do you tend to pay a little bit more attention to them?
You know, I, I just make myself available, to everyone. I tell them, you know what, you're going to middle school, you have my email address, email me. I might not be at the same school, but you could email me. Let me know, let me know what I could help you with, but you do try to instill that. I'm like, I think it's more like you see their personalities
Yeah.
and you try to, okay, like I see you have a temper, but you're a great leader,
Yeah.
so I'm going to, you know, use that. Like, I might give you that. Like, you're in charge of my stretches. You're in charge of this, you know, um, talk to me about your teammates. How are they doing? I'm gonna hold you accountable for this, or so I think I was trying to find their strengths and see how I could have that as a motivation to outweigh their areas of opportunity where that temper, like, all right, you know what? I saw you kind of nesting and getting upset over this. What can you do in these situations?
Yeah.
What can you do for your teammates? Because you can be the best player on the team, but if you're not on the team, it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
You're hurting them.
Yeah. No, I get it. As we get to the end of this here, I just have a few more questions, and then
Yeah.
we'll wrap it up. Just for you personally, having the upbringing and doing what you're doing, and then pivoting and getting into where you're at now, career wise. What are your goals for the future? Like, what do you want to see happen for yourself?
I honestly, like I said, I just got into teaching not too long ago, and I'm loving it. You know, I think I know I talked about a lot about my dad, how hard he was. Uh, my mom was, she had all boys, but she was like the biggest cheerleader. So I
Yeah.
try to, with us, so I try to adapt that. 'Cause, it felt good when someone's still out there cheering you on. When
Yeah. Yeah.
my dad just, has arms crossing and sunflower seeds at the game.
Yeah.
So I try to remember that on my mom's side, like, you know what, like, these kids are playing and try to motivate them. So, my goals are to, also, do that for them, like not just show them they have someone, like they have a support team behind them, 'Cause I know I had like teachers who really, like my high school Spanish teacher, like Miss Herrera, she, I became a teacher. One of the reasons was because of her.
Yeah.
She was against one, like, oh man, I want to be a teacher because of her. She changed me. I was like a class clown, like a little knucklehead. So she really got through to me, and so I think my goals is just to become a teacher like her, you know,
Yeah.
be able to, you know, help my students as much as I can, whatever I can, do what I can to help them out, and also I want to do more with the sports program, you know, build up a little bit more, and, start reaching out to, different companies so you can donate cleats, bats, gloves, basketballs, whatever it is, because you know what it's like. I mean, you get the bare necessities when you go out there. You get the basic stuff, which is fine. They get to play. But I mean,
Yeah.
I know when I got to play with a nice jersey or a nice new glove or something nice, I just felt so much better about myself. Like, oh, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
out there. Like, I got this. I'm gonna do great.
Yeah.
So I wanna make that a little. I want to try to bring more attention to it since it's kind of not a new thing, but I could see potential of where it can go.
Yeah.
So like I said, in the classroom, my goal is to do what Mr. Herrera did for me, you know, instill instill values, especially those going down the wrong path, change them around a little bit, see the good in school. And the sports program, I mean, it did a lot for me, staying out of trouble, you know, and staying focused. And so I want to do that. So no, those are my goals. Just keep growing as a teacher, as a coach. I love that I get both sides. Teacher, Mr. M, Mr. Menares, or coach. Some just call
Yeah.
me coach, and I love that.
Yeah.
So that's just it. I just want to grow as much as I can in both areas, just to help my students, see
Yeah.
them thrive.
So, you do get to see both sides.
Yeah,
The main factor in everything though is the kids, and the kids have parents. Um, Kind of seeing, and you're barely getting into it now, but kind of seeing kind of the nature and the environment of where the youth sports is at outside of what you're doing. Like Little League and Pop
yeah,
Warner and
uh,
all this stuff like that.
yeah.
Um, what kind of advice would you give parents? Like coming as a teacher's perspective and as someone that's trying to teach these kids when they're really really little, what kind of advice would you give to parents, like in terms of how they treat and react to their kids?
I think it's practice what you preach. Just because, I mean, I hear the parents, on the sidelines, hey, you know what? Do this, do that. Be calm, be cool, be collected, do what you're out there to do, have fun, and try your best, work hard, right? But
Yeah.
then the parents are out there like, Coach, you missed this call. It was fair, or that was a foul. Come on, Coach, you missed that call. And I'm not sure if you ever ref or been there, but you don't catch everything, and that's why I tell
Yeah.
parents. And for me, it's just like practice what you preach, because you're telling your kids to stay calm and collected, work hard, just focus on the game, keep pushing forward. But you're at my throat,
Yeah.
you know. I
Yeah.
that's what I would just say.
Yeah. No, I get it. And it makes sense. You know, you what is the saying? Do the opposite of what's the saying? Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. All right. So last question, and just to kind of close it out,
yeah.
to the students that you have now, and the students that have left already, and they're no longer. Maybe they are in contact, or maybe not, but they've left some type of impression in you or in your life. Um, what do you want to say to them? Like, what do you want to say when they're older, right? And let's say they go back and they say, "Oh, I wonder what Mr. Menards would tell me."
Hmm.
What would you want to tell them when they're in the high school age and they're
Just
still on
yeah.
this sports journey?
I think just keep working hard. I tell them every time you go out there, just try your best. Keep working hard. Don't give up. I think that's what I want to leave that long lasting impression. Just 'cause the one thing that really bugs me when they're just ah, we're tired. Okay, they're tired too. Keep
Yeah,
grinding. Keep going. Or oh man, I don't like excuses. For me, it's like put your head down the scope.
yeah,
And they're oh man, they got 6 points in like in a minute. All right. Well, you get 10.
Yeah.
Put your head down. Let's go. Let's go to work. So for me, it's just like grind out every play, grind out every play, grind out every class, and just put your head down and work.
Yeah.
You know, keep that positive mentality. Say that's why I keep telling them, stay positive. When you're looking at the negative, you're gonna get negative.
Yeah.
So keep that positive mentality and look at the positive when everything's negative. What was one positive thing about it? Focus on that positive and keep grinding.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's our goal as coaches, is to kind of leave them with that when they get older, and they'll remember, like, oh, I remember Coach told me this.
Mm-hmm.
Coach had me do this, and he believed in me,
Yeah,
so I'm gonna believe in myself too. Which is
yeah,
big. It's huge for
yeah,
some of these kids in certain areas. That's huge,
yeah,
and maybe they don't hear
yeah,
that from anyone else, but they hear it from you
yeah,
and they remember it. Which
yeah.
is,
And that's what I tell them. You can do it. Just don't say I
yeah,
can't. There's no I can't. You're gonna do it. You got this. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I want to thank you for what you're doing with our youth, and kind of giving us your insight on what you see, and on your background and stuff like that. Um, is there any last comments or anything that you want to get off your chest before we get out of here?
No, that's it, man. I appreciate you having me on. I honestly appreciate the chat. It's been nice. And I know we had a similar upbringing, and it's like when I talk about it to other people, it's like, man, I feel bad for you. Like, don't feel bad for me. You know, like
Yeah,
yeah, like don't. It might have been tough, but it got me to where I'm at right now. I'm blessed to where I'm at right now, and I love it. If my dad would have been really soft on me, I probably would have been somewhere else.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, again, just want to thank you for coming on, and thank the viewers for being here for episode 4. I know there was a big break in between everything, but life gets hectic, and this isn't as easy as it seems.
Uh,
I know me and you have been talking about this for it's
yeah,
been a while already, and
yeah.
um, but yeah, again, just thank you guys for joining me here, or joining Edwin and I here for episode 4. Be on the lookout for episode 5.